When nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Pop one of those gold coins in there. Oh, baby!
Welcome into Sports Millions here on the grid. I'm Joe Madden, joined by Tom Vecchio. Now we have a great lineup of games to go over, Tom, but let's start off with one with major playoff implications here between the Atlanta Falcons and the Washington Commanders. This should be an exciting game in Washington. What are you expecting in this one?
Sunday night football, huge game for both teams. Like you said, Commanders coming off this huge comeback win, amazing performance from Jaden Daniels last week with 5 touchdowns. They're at home. Falcons, they need to take care of business, win some games to secure the NFC South. I'm expecting some points. I know it's a primetime game. I know we're high playoff implications for both teams, but I'm expecting some points. Great options on both sides. Michael Penix at the helm for the Falcons. I am ready to roll.
Yeah, this should be interesting. 2 rookie quarterbacks versus each other, and I'm expecting the fireworks between these two teams as both of these teams move that ball up and down the field. Jaden Daniels, we know, has been in situations where he's been able to clutch or get the win with seconds left on the clock. We saw that fantastic Hail Mary, and at home, this team has looked unstoppable offensively, and you're talking about a team that did come off that huge win. What are you looking at for players here? Who do you want to start talking about here, Tom?
I think it's got to be Jaden Daniels, right? Presumed rookie of the year on the way. It's just got to be his passing yards. The rushing yards, you can certainly look to at 47.5. The passing touchdowns, I think, are fine. You know, I have the worry that they move the ball effectively down the field, and then Brian Robinson comes in and he picks up 2 touchdowns. So then we wouldn't be seeing the touchdowns come through for Daniels. So I think the passing yards for Daniels is what we should be looking at. The defense on the other side for the Falcons is not something I am worried about at all. So 225 for Daniels, I think that's a very doable number.
Yeah, it seems a little light. I love that to the higher. And you mentioned his rushing yards there. And I just don't trust him in that situation because we know he took a couple hard hits this season and those ribs just weren't 100% for the longest time it seemed out there. So I do think they just want him to throw that ball. And we know he has the arm to do so. So I love him higher than the 225.5 for his passing yards. Now, you mentioned Brian Robinson Jr. We know how effective he can be on the ground. There's 2 different ways we could look at him. His rushing yards, the number is 64.5, and his rushing touchdowns just over that half rushing touchdowns. Do you like either more than the other?
I honestly like them both. And it comes down, like which one do I prefer? The yards, I think, are easy. It wouldn't be out of the question to see Jane Daniels rush one in, a quick pass to, whether it be McLaurin or Zach Ertz, any of these players. So I'm not going to be looking to both, obviously, Brian Robinson and Daniels, obviously going to have one of them. The yards for Brian Robinson are the answer. With Austin Eckler still out, that's the spot that I want to be going again. This Falcons defense is not something that we should be worried about. And considering what we have on the other side for the Commanders defense, I think the yards will be there for the Falcons as well. So whoever ends up scoring, that's great. I don't think they really care. At the end of the day, they need to win this game to secure their playoff berth. But Brian Robinson moving the ball effectively on the ground is what we've seen for the majority of the season. I think that will continue tonight or continue on Sunday night for a highly important game.
Yeah, he's been so strong at being able to do so. Terry McLaurin here, you brought up now his number coming in 64.5 receiving yards. We know he's good to get those deep balls. You talked about the defense here for the Falcons. They don't provide much resistance. Their secondary isn't that strong. Do you think he could go higher than that, Tom?
Oh, McLaurin is in a great spot. And like you said, those deep balls, this is a number he can break off in 2 catches. Just the way they utilize him in the offense is something I have a whole lot of interest in. What we've seen from the Falcons defense, again, we need to take this, their recent results with a bit of a grain of salt. Playing the Giants, I would expect them to have a good game. We're not really worried about the Giants offense. Playing against the Raiders a couple of weeks ago on Monday night, we're not really expecting a whole lot from the Raiders offense overall. And it's not what we saw from either of those offenses moving the ball at high rate. But we can't look at recent results and say, they've stopped wide receivers, they've stopped opposing running backs just because they haven't been playing good offenses. So we actually look further back. Again, this is not a defense we should be concerned about giving up large chunk plays, giving up yards deep down the field. So whether it's McLaurin, whether it's Daniels, it's again salted taste. Pick which one you want. I think Jane Daniels is the best option, but Terry McLaurin is also a phenomenal option.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love Jaden Daniels in this spot to come out nice and strong, put on a big show at home in this matchup. Now, when we look at the Atlanta Falcons, we have to look at someone here. Patterson, we can look at his kicking points or his field goals made. We can also look at Bijan Robinson to come out nice and strong. But the only way we can look at him is for that rushing touchdown. And then when we look at Riley Patterson, like I said, he is the kicker here for the Atlanta Falcons, so we can look at his kicking points, that number coming in at 6.5, or his field goals made higher than or lower than 1.5. Where would you like to go with the Atlanta Falcons? Because we can't get Michael Penix Jr. is who I really did want to circle out here, Tom.
Yeah, I would have interest in Penix. I would also have interest in Robinson combined rushing plus receiving. Those are just not posted yet. So again, the touchdown for Robinson, you could certainly go there. He's been awesome, but I'm a little bit concerned when it comes to the Falcons offense. We know we saw a big number in terms of the final score last week, but we got to remember Drew Lock with the pick sixes last week. That was also why that score got boosted up. So the Falcons offense being stalled at least a little bit once they get over midfield, once they get into the red zone, I think will lead to some field goal opportunities for Riley Patterson. So I don't want to go with the kicking points. I want to go higher than 1.5 field goals made for him. And again, the touchdown for Bijan Robinson, I think is totally on the board. I just want to go with the field goals for this one.
Yeah, I could see him being able to rush it in for that touchdown. I like that to the higher, but I'm with you with Patterson. You look at Patterson, and I do think, even though the Washington Commanders in some of these games defensively have had those struggles in the red zone, we've seen a lot of stops out there in the Atlanta Falcons. They've just had so much issues offensively. Now with Penix out there, you've got to wonder, putting a left-handed quarterback into the situation, and while they have had some nice plays out there, what this defense will be able to do against them. So I'm with you. I think you look at Riley Patterson for higher than 1.5 field goals made. So Tom, where are you locking in for this game?
Let's stick with Riley Patterson. 1.5 field goals made, and this is, based on what we have available right now. I think that is a safe route to go. Robinson, I'll have a ton of interest in his yards. It's just not simply posted yet. So locking in Riley Patterson higher than 1.5 field goals made. And again, on the Commander side of things, you can go a number of different ways. If you want to trust Brian Robinson on the ground, that's certainly fine. If you want to trust Terry McLaurin in the air, again, the big play potential from him is absolutely there. Again, 64.5 for his receiving. He can break that off in literally 2 catches getting down the field. But Jaden Daniels, and, again, about to be Rookie of the Year, I think that is the route to go. Put the ball in his hands, trust him as they have done all season long. He's throwing the ball and he's completing it at a high rate. So ultimately, I just want to turn to 225.5 passing yards, go higher than that.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on Jaden Daniels for higher than the 225.5 passing yards. I think he can have a huge day in this game, Tom. How high do you think his number really could go? Because I'm seeing a matchup here against the defense of the Atlanta Falcons in which he could go even higher than 250, 260. I think 275 isn't even out of the question.
Yeah, 250 seems like a right number, especially against this Falcons defense, which again, I have no faith in. So Daniels rolling with the passing, if he goes past that, I think he truly will. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go over the rushing as well, but I want to stick with the passing and him pushing the 250. I do not think he's out of the question at all this week.
Okay, so officially I am locking in Jaden Daniels higher than 225.5 passing yards, and then I will go with Riley Patterson here of the Atlanta Falcons, higher than 1.5 field goals made. Tom, your official lock-in is?
I'm on board with those. The field goals for Patterson, the yards for Daniels. We will see some points in this game, mostly from the Washington side of things, but the points overall will be good.
Okay, that's what we're locking in, you guys. This will be an interesting matchup between those two. We're coming up against a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in the next couple of minutes here on Sports Millions on the Grid.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
Like they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Pop one of those gold coins.
Oh, welcome into Sports Millions here on the Grid. We're going to jump into the matchup between the Cowboys and the Eagles. But first, enjoy Sports Millions pick'ems, but hate making picks yourself? Well, Sports Millions has you covered. Head on over and play Sports Millions Blitz'em now and let the computer do the work. Go to sportsmillions.com/blitz'em to be able to win big prizes without having to make a single pick yourself. That's sportsmillions.com/blitz'em. Okay, Tom, we're jumping into the matchup here. I misspoke. It's the Colts and the Giants we're looking at. This game, well, we know here the Giants playing for the #1 draft pick. How motivated are they going to be able to get the win?
Motivated or lack thereof, that's what we're not sure of. On the Colts side of things, their playoff hopes are still alive, and that is important to note. They should be out there giving us a full effort. I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Giants. I would, of course, side with Malik Neighbors as their best overall option when we get there. But the Colts side of things, they just got to take care of business, right? That's what it comes down to. Come away with the win, keep those playoff hopes alive, however slim they may be. Start on the ground game with Jonathan Taylor. Maybe we look to some of the options, which I don't have a whole lot of faith in. I don't know if you agree when it comes to their passing offense, but I think this has to be a Jonathan Taylor-led game for the Colts.
It absolutely has to be. We saw him have so much success last week out there on the field, and I'm expecting that game plan to come into play again here for the Colts. Now, you did mention on Drew Lock. I don't really trust that passing game out there. We know he's been throwing those interceptions. The defenses have been getting those pick sixes on him. It hasn't been pretty. So when we look at his numbers, would you be willing to lock him into any of the lowers here for Drew Lock? I don't really love taking lowers, but I think there could be an opportunity to look at him maybe in his passing, rushing, or pass completions.
The completions would be the first spot that I would go, because if we do expect him to struggle, like you said, the pick sixes last week against the Falcons, at what point does he get pulled? He get benched. Tommy DeVito comes back in. Like that's always the threat when we have these backup quarterbacks. They're flip-flopping between the two of them. It may be a Drew Lock lower than 19.5 completions, just because we're not expecting a lot from their offense overall. If they crack 10, 13 points, I think we'd all be surprised by that. I don't expect them to put up 17 points. I don't think too highly of the Colts defense overall. If Mason Rudolph last week can drop 30 some odd points, whatever it was on them, I'm not expecting a whole lot from the Giants. So Drew Lock lower than 19.5 completions. I think we can totally look there. I think we can look to some of the players on the Giants for going higher, specifically Malik Neighbors, if we want to get into that.
Okay, I like where you're going there. The other ways you could look at Drew Lock would be those passing attempts. I would look at him for the lower than 31.5 for his passing attempts. But let's look into the other players we can look at for the Giants before we start talking about the Colts. Malik Neighbors, you mentioned. Now, his receiving yards, 72.5. Do you trust that number to the higher, Tom?
I do. We have seen some various quotes from Malik Neighbors in not just recent weeks, but dating back a couple that, they're saying, they're down 20-3 at halftime. He says, well, I only have one target at halftime. What else can I do? He's their star wide receiver, their star first-round pick. He should be getting the ball. He is their best option on offense. Regardless of what the Giants are doing, they're vying for draft picks. At the end of the day, he should be having 8, 9, 10 targets, whatever it might be. And again, this Colts defense is not one that we really need to be worried about. So Malik Neighbors, higher than 72.5. Will he get the yards? Will they be pretty? Will they happen early in the game, late in the game? It doesn't really matter, but I think that's the spot to go for the Giants.
Okay, that's a great way to look. I'm also looking at the kicker here, Gano, to come out nice and strong. We're seeing his kicking points sitting at 5.5. I really like this one, Tom, to the over. I think this team will struggle in the end zone and be able to put up some field goals, maybe one touchdown, nicely pushing us higher than the 5.5. Anything here for the kicker?
It has to be higher than 5.5. Like this is an offense that's been stopped time and time again, and they can't convert. They don't score touchdowns. They settle for field goals. So at the end of the day, if there's any spot to go for the Giants, and it would be the kicking points higher than 5.5. That's 2 field goals, knock them right through. Again, what are we expecting from them? We're not expecting 21 points from them. We're not expecting 24 points from them. We're expecting about 10, 13. So it'd be the 2 field goals plus a touchdown that gets you past that number.
Okay, let's look at the player I trust most for the Colts out here. We mentioned on it with Jonathan Taylor to come out for a nice big day. We saw that success last week, and I just can't see them going to a different game plan out here. So there's 3 different picks we can make on him, Tom. We could look at his receiving yards, 6.5 is that number. We can look at his rushing yards, 100.5 is that number, and then the rushing and receiving coming at 110.5. I love that rushing and receiving. To the higher, I think we get a couple of short passes off to him, and he's nicely able to go over this number. Even though it's high, I don't think it's high enough, Tom.
Right. And when it comes down to it, the Colts need to take care of business, and they just need to win this game, keep those playoff hopes alive. Again, whatever the circumstances may be. Jonathan Taylor is their best player. Jonathan Taylor should be having the ball in his hands, so higher than 110.5 rushing plus receiving. The only reason he would not go over this number is that we do see multiple pick sixes from Drew Lock. Like, so Jonathan Taylor gets to 80 yards. We see 2 pick sixes from Drew Lock, and all of a sudden they're up 27-6, 27-10, 30-10, whatever it might be. And then Jonathan Taylor's just simply not on the field at the end of the game because they want to preserve him for another potential win in week 18, whatever the playoff circumstances might be. So that's like the only way I don't see Jonathan Taylor going over. They need to get him the ball. It needs to be early and often, get the ball in his hands, higher than 110.5 rushing plus receiving. That's where I want to lock things in, and then turn to Malik Neighbors. No faith in Drew Lock. Malik Neighbors, higher than 72.5 receiving yards. Get the ball to him. He is the best player for the Giants.
Okay, I love with what you're locking in there. We could also look at Matt Gay here for the Colts. For his kicking points, that number is sitting at 7.5. He also has a 1.5 for his field goals. But Tom, I'm with you. I really do think Jonathan Taylor would be the key player here for the Colts. I will take him higher than 110.5 receiving plus rushing yards. And then I'm going to look at the kicker, Graham Gano here for the New York Giants. I love him higher than 5.5 kicking points. Now, Tom, we're going to be back in the next couple of minutes. We just got a break against us here. We're going to talk the Cowboys and the Eagles, and then we're also going to look at the matchup between the Jets and the Bills. So you guys don't go anywhere. Tom and I'll be back in the next couple of minutes here on Sports Millions on the Grid.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
Yeah, this is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet. Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
Pop one of those gold coins.
Welcome back into Sports Millions here on the Grid. Myself, Joe Madden, and Tom Vecchio. Now, Tom, we've got 2 different games we're going to jump into in this segment. We'll start it off with the Cowboys versus the Eagles.
But first, let's check out the Sports Millions social casino featuring classics, slots, and brand new game concepts. The social casino features the opportunity to win large sweepstake coins, and the games are always free to enter. Go play now at sportsmillions.com/social-casino. That's sportsmillions.com/social-casino. And Joe, as you said, we have 2 games to get to. I'm ready to get rolling. Like, we have interesting playoff implications, obviously, on one side for both games, specifically from the Eagles, specifically from the Bills. Let's get to it.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And you look at this Eagles team off that loss to the Washington Commanders. They're going to want to come out here and put a statement win, I do think, on the Dallas Cowboys, who we know have struggled this season, have been looking better on the defensive side as of late. But can this defense slow down Saquon Barkley is the biggest question mark. I don't think they can here, Tom.
I don't think they can. We're looking at Saquon Barkley right now. His number is set at 108.5 rushing yards alone. It's not rushing plus receiving. It's just rushing yards. It is also important to note that Jalen Hurts did not practice on Wednesday. So quarterback situation for them is still up in the air. So if it's potentially Kenny Pickett again, starting for the Eagles, wouldn't this just turn to a big Saquon Barkley game? Wouldn't this just put the ball in his hands? Let's take care of business. Let's come away with the win. Let's not mess around. Like, that's what I would ultimately expect if it is Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and I would expect that as well if it is Hurts coming out here, because we know he won't be at 100% if he's out there on the field. And we know Saquon Barkley has been a complete wrecking ball out there on the field. With or without Hurts on the field, I do think he goes completely off in this game. So I love him to the higher than 108.5. I think that's just way too low for a number for him. And then Jake Elliott, we do have 1.5 field goals as his pick in this one. I do think those field goals will come in against his defense versus the Cowboys. I don't think you could go wrong with either of these players in this matchup, Tom.
Right, and with Elliott, the higher than 1.5 field goals really could be in play. We saw it at the end of last week when Kenny Pickett was at quarterback after Jalen Hurts left the game. You know, their offense moved the ball to an extent, but then they also got stalled a little bit. And like you said, the Cowboys defense, we know what has happened in the season, but they're actually playing a little bit better over the past week. So they also may want to play spoiler against one of their division rivals. So if we do see Kenny Pickett out there, Jake Elliott could be in a spot where he has to hit field goals just because they're not effectively moving the ball down the field. They're not in the red zone. They're not picking up all these touchdowns as they normally would if Hurts were to be the QB. So Elliott, Barkley, I don't think you can go wrong on either side. I would prefer Barkley just because he's awesome.
Okay, I would absolutely prefer Barkley as well. I would be willing to lock in Saquon Barkley higher than the 108.5 rushing yards in this game. I think he has a complete domination out there on the ground. Tom, are you willing to lock that one in, or do you have more stronger feeling on Jake Elliott?
No, let's go with Barkley. He's the best. He could win Offensive Player of the Year. There was MVP talk. Let's lock in Barkley.
Okay, we're both locking in Barkley there. Let's move on to the Jets and the Bills. We have a couple of ways to look at this game. I'm excited for this one. How much motivation do you think the Jets have to play spoiler over the Bills? Not much they can do out here, though.
Yeah, they may want to play spoiler. Will it actually happen? That's a different story. At the end of the day, I do not think that will be coming through. I have a very specific vision for this game. If I can spell that out real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get to it. So for the Bills, they know they can't get the 1 seed anymore because the Chiefs won the other day on Wednesday. We've also got this report that Josh Allen been playing through a fractured hand, a broken hand, whatever it is. So James Cook, higher than half a rushing touchdown. If they get to the goal line, there's no reason for Josh Allen to be jumping towards the goal line if he's already dealing with this. And they can't get the 1 seed. So it's lock in James Cook. Just give the ball to him. Keep Josh Allen as healthy as possible before we head into the playoffs.
I love James Cook to come out nice and strong on the ground and be able to get those rushing touchdowns as well, Tom. I will lock in here James Cook higher than a half rushing touchdown. Is that where you're going to lock in then?
It's got to be the play. They can still win the game, take care of business, but Josh Allen doesn't need to be diving towards the pylon. Keep him healthy.
Oh, they absolutely have to keep him healthy for the playoffs here. If you did want to look at Josh Allen, he has a 1.5 passing touchdown that you could look to the higher. But you guys, thanks so much for joining Tom Vecchio and myself, Joe Madden, over here on Sports Millions on the Grid. We want to wish you all the best in all of your picks. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for having me.